The tape was supposed to be boring. It sat in a cardboard archive box, marked Weather Data April 1969. One of thousands transferred from a Pentagon basement to a digital storage facility decades later. Barometric readings. Wind shear analysis. Routine recordings meant to be preserved, not listened to. That's why no one noticed when an intern clicked play. The first 30 seconds sounded exactly as expected. Static, a soft hum, a man calmly reciting atmospheric pressure over the North Atlantic. The intern leaned back, half listening, already thinking about lunch. Then the voice stopped. There was a pause. Papers shuffled. A chair creaked. And another voice entered the recording, low, authoritative, unmistakably military. "Let's go on the record," the man said. "Because if we don't, history will decide this for us." The intern froze. The next several minutes were not weather data. They were a briefing. Multiple voices filled the room, some tense, some skeptical. One man identified himself as a deputy undersecretary. Another was addressed only as general. There was discussion of radar anomalies, classified incidents, and something repeatedly referred to as the event. The intern listened as the room debated a phenomenon that had occurred 6 months earlier at an undisclosed test range. The details were fragmentary, but one fact was clear. Something had been opened, not metaphorically, physically. The tape described a structure that appeared briefly during a high-energy experiment. A distortion in space that behaved like a doorway. Instruments failed. Cameras showed nothing but shimmering static. But personnel on site reported a sensation of depth where none should exist. Like looking into a hallway that didn't belong to the building. The official report called it a malfunction. The briefing did not. It wasn't unstable, one voice said. It was incomplete. Another added, "We didn't breach anything. We were answered." There was a long silence on the tape after that. Then the general spoke again, his tone carefully controlled. "Closed it," he said. "Or at least, it closed itself. The question is whether that was the end of the exchange." A civilian voice asked what he meant. The general did not answer immediately. Instead, he asked a question that would later flag the entire tape for review. "What if they come back through the same gate?" The room erupted. Some laughed nervously. Others demanded clarification. One man accused the general of speculation bordering on science fiction. The general didn't raise his voice. He simply laid out the timeline. The energy spike, the distortion, the unexplained signals detected afterward, not electromagnetic, not acoustic, but patterned. They weren't random, he said. They were responsive. Someone asked the obvious question. Who was they? The general's reply was quiet. "Whatever noticed us." At that point, the tape abruptly cut back to weather data. Wind speed. Cloud cover, as if nothing had happened. The intern reported the anomaly to his supervisor. The supervisor escalated it. Within hours, the file was locked, relabeled, and removed from the system. The intern was thanked for his diligence and reassigned to a different project. But copies exist. They always do. One such copy surfaced years later in the hands of a retired audio engineer who specialized in restoring damaged recordings. He cleaned the tape, balanced the levels, and noticed something no one else had mentioned. Beneath the voices, barely audible, was another sound. A low, rhythmic pulse, not room tone, not electrical hum. It appeared only during the moments when the gate was discussed. The engineer slowed it down, then sped it up, ran it through filters, compared it to known phenomena. Finally, on a hunch, he isolated the waveform and mapped it visually. The pattern was structured, repeating, almost like a response. The engineer never published his findings. He sent them to a former colleague who worked briefly with defense contractors. The colleague replied with a single sentence. "You should not have that." The weather tape has since vanished from every public archive. Officially, it never existed. The Pentagon denies any such briefing took place, denies any anomalous experiment, denies the idea of a gate entirely, and yet, in recent years, new facilities have been constructed at sites with unusual energy signatures. Research funding has quietly shifted toward projects involving spatial thresholds and transient distortions. The language has changed, but the questions remain the same. Because once you consider the possibility that a door was opened, even briefly, another thought becomes unavoidable. Doors are designed to be used more than once. And somewhere, perhaps not bound by our sense of time, something may remember the way through.